Fearlessness is the first of the 24 qualities that Krishna lists in those first few verses of the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And this is an additional value of this experiential knowledge that I spoke about when we're on our yoga mats, noticing the distinction between all that we are aware of and ourselves, the observer. Krishna tells us in the Bhagavad Gita that we're not just not our bodies, but that there was never a time when we did not exist as individuals. He points out, you have always existed, I have always existed, everyone here has always existed, and in the future there is no possibility that any of us shall ever cease to be. And this is a very radical idea, because what it's saying is that we are not created beings, that we don't come into being at a point in time. We will not go out of being at a point in time. And oftentimes in my classes, I will ask this question. If you were experiencing yourself right now as an eternal being, how would that change your life? And the answer that eventually comes around is, I wouldn't have anything to be afraid of. That one thing, like what's the worst thing? All of our fears roll back to fear of death. Whatever it is you think you're afraid of. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job. Why? Well, because then I won't have any money. Well, what's wrong with that? Well, then I won't be able to buy food or keep a roof over my head. So what's the big deal? Well, then I'll die. It'll all roll back to that.
Right.
And if we understand that, we don't want this body to be extinguished, we naturally cling to life. Patanjali in his Yoga Sutras says that clinging to life or fear of death is the fifth obstacle to the experience of yoga. And even the wise will have this tendency. It's just natural for us, because for an eternal spirit soul, the idea of not being is totally unnatural. Death is supposed to be a natural part of life, except it's not natural for an eternal spiritual being to experience death. So naturally, we have an aversion to it. But if we understand that death is not the end of us, then right away, we have a piece of knowledge that can help us move through the world fearlessly, or at least with less fear about the future and what's going to happen.
Well, it's funny, you said a piece of knowledge, but I was struck on that first word. We have a piece.
Yes, a piece of knowledge that will give you an inner peace that supports fearlessness.